Right now, let's see what Crowdstrike can bring to the table.
Thank you very much. Thank you for organizing this event and letting us present here our solution here. My name is Martin Crowdstrike. I'm based in Vienna, in Austria, and I'm here with my colleague Jan Schupp. Hello. And we want to start with a short video introduction, what we actually are doing. Let's see. We're missing some sound here.
I think we misjudged them.
Restart? Restart?
Yeah, it's up. We should open the gate. Take a look at this! They've left us a gift! That is so nice of them. I think we misjudged them! I love horses. Here, Tux. We should open the gate. Hang on. Let's see what Charlotte thinks. Charlotte!
At Crowdstrike, we monitor trillions of cyber events to detect threats and prevent breaches before they happen, to keep your business from becoming history. We stop cyber attacks. We stop breaches. We stop a lot of bad things from happening. Crowdstrike, protection that powers you.
Yeah, thanks for that. Cool.
Awesome.
The thing is, what are we trying to achieve and what is actually our problem here? Jan?
Just, you need to put your microphone close to the mouth.
Oh, thank you for that.
This commercial spot was the first spot of a cybersecurity company at the Super Bowl. That was the last spot before the halftime. And our marketing colleagues are very proud of that because all you know, we are a US-based company and that's the most famous event in the US and everybody saw that and also the newspapers, they are talking about the best and most funny commercials and we hear that you laugh also, but not many of you may have seen the Super Bowl live. There's one, great. And that was just before Rihanna started to sing, and we thought today it's a good start to let you know what we are doing. And now Martin, our RSM for Romania, want to show you how important it is and what we can do to help you to be more safe, like the guys here from Trojan. Thanks.
All right, thank you for that, and I hope you can hear me now. Go Patriots. But the problem is, what do we have actually? Do we have a malware problem? Do we have an antivirus or virus problem? We heard something about identity, so is that our real problem? No, actually we have an attacker problem. So these guys are trying to break in for various reasons into our systems, steal some data, encrypt some data, do some bad things, want to damage us, want to hurt us. I don't know, so these guys are the bad guys, we have to keep them out. So if we have got one problem, we've got one purpose. We as Crowdstrike, this purpose is keeping the guys out. So we are not trying to do this with malware protection or identity protection or cloud-based protection or whatever. This is our goal. And to achieve this goal, you first need to know what the guys, the bad guys, are actually doing. So we've got one answer for that. And if you want to have one answer for that, you need to know what the guys are doing. So we actually had our source is threat intelligence. This is where we came from. And what you want to protect against an enemy, you need to know what the enemy is doing in the first place. So, and we had some statistics. We categorized the enemies into the adversaries into three categories. The first guys are politically motivated, so these all the Secret Service guys and all the Russian KGB and all these kind of guys are in there. So they are nation state motivated. The second group is e-crime motivated, so they want to get on your cash, actually. Yeah. And the third guys are others, like hacktivists, for example. They want to bring down the oil refinery network because they want to make a statement for environmental reasons, for example. Yeah. And when you get attacked, you need to differentiate if this is just a script kiddie, is this the Chinese Secret Service, is this some activists which want to extort you for money. So that's the question. And you try to throw all kind of things against them. So you have antivirus, you have checkmark, nothing can happen to me. You have got vulnerability management in your environment, so checkmark here. You have got patch management, yeah, checkmark here. File integrity monitoring, data loss prevention. You have a firewall, of course, a firewall and SASE stuff in your organization. But will this really solve your problem? That's the thing. It can solve your problem, but we are here. Yeah? The complexity is very high, and you need to connect the dots between the various tools. This is gonna cost you. Yeah? And time is our enemy, number one. And the adversaries know that, so if they try to confuse you with various attacks, they get you where most vulnerable. Yeah? So, for example, during the weekend, where the SOC is not 100% staffed, or even if you have a SOC, they know that you have, because they're going to investigate before they attack you. And this is in our DNA, and we solve this problem by having a platform across all this kind of stuff. So first of all, threat intelligence is really important. That's where we started. So we know all the bad tricks of our adversaries. We know that the Russians, and I don't know if you've seen our marketing department is also great with figures. So the Russians, they are called bears, and the fancy bear is going to attack you. Then guess what? They use this attack and this attack mode, and they're coming from these IP addresses. And if you monitor this worldwide, you know all this stuff. And if you know that fancy bear is going to attack you, you can proactively defend against that, no matter with what tool. And this needs to be together. We've got endpoint security and XDR, of course, so we know what is going on the endpoint. This is really, really important, because you cannot defend against something you cannot see. If you see weird stuff going on your endpoints, yeah, you probably should have a look at that. Same thing with cloud security. Some your development guys, they spun up some cloud infrastructure. That's very easy. You just swipe your credit card and go there. Question is this secure, and do you have it monitored closely? And that's why today we are here about identity protection, actually. So who is taking care of your identity? I mean, Stefan, if I steal your identity, who is going to stop me? I've got a valid credential, I can log in, I know what's going on because I'm a smart guy. Maybe I bought your credential on the dark web, the deep web. We have talked about this already today. And I'm logging in as Stefan, and there we are. And then I have reconnaissance and sneak around, and that's why identity attacks take up to 250 days to discover. And these attacks are taken over step by step. So malware-free attacks, 71%. So if you have got a malware protection, you miss 71%. And all kinds of 80% are involved with identity stuff going on. So if I'm stealing your account, if I'm taking your account away, if I'm privileged myself as an administrator later on. So these are things I don't not even use any tools I need to ingest into your system. And as an attacker, I save myself a lot of work. I mean, you need to develop malware, you need to make it sandbox proof. This is lots of research is going on. If I steal your account, I'm in, that's it. And this is really, really taken over. If you see, since 2019, The attacks are getting even more and more, and that's why we are now at what we have at the moment, 75% is identity-based attacks. They are malware-free. They're using the stuff you have in your own systems, and they're using your own systems against you. Great example, the Folio attack, which is using Microsoft Diagnostics tool for not the right targets. We have here, and that's why I put it on the slide, we have the 2023 Global Threat Report, where all this behavior of the bad guys is described, what they're motivated, why they're motivated, what verticals they're up to. So if we are in the banking sector and we see these guys and these guys and these guys trying to attack me, and they use this, and this attack, the next question would be, am I vulnerable for these attacks? And this is the next step, what we are trying to, what we are solving actually. So we be proactive and see, okay, these guys want to attack me, I need to defend against this. And with identity, we skip all this kind of stuff. This is execution via spread malware, and somebody has to deploy the malware, and the malware gets caught, and you have to start all over again. All this kind of stuff is easy for me as I'm not an attacker, but for me as an attacker, just start here. Yeah? I log in, and then I'm at the lateral movement. And lateral movement is one, then it's really becoming dangerous, because when I spread in the environment, in your environment, you're going to lose this war. It is going up exponentially. And when I've got one login to one of your servers, guess what? I will have another one, and another one, and another one. And it's very, very hard to contain this again. So time is against us, and that's why we need to not just to see what is going on the endpoint, but also we protect the identities against misuse. And we have here a three-step approach actually. And the first thing, we need to see what's going on in the network, and with our unified sensor enrolled on the agents and on all the endpoints and on all servers, we see what's going on and who is using which credential. And guess what? The same sensor is installed on your domain controllers, so we see who is authenticating against these domain controllers. And we see the configuration on the domain controllers. Who has accounts in their Active Directory, we're not quite sure if they're still used. Come on, don't be shy. I mean, everybody, yeah? Where are the configurations for service accounts? And you're not 100% sure what are they used for. So the first step is to see what might be vulnerable in my system and get rid of it. So this is also in a service from Crowdstrike, Active Directory Risk Review, that we get rid of all this kind of stuff. The second thing is then we can start to prevent something. So I didn't have any use case now why a service account should log in via remote desktop into servers. So this is very easy, we can block this. When you see it, when you know what's going on, you can block it. And on the third part, where we go into more proactive stuff, we can, if we're not sure, we can ask the user for a multi-factor authentication. But we need to be cautious about that, because multi-factor authentication can create fatigue. If you're bugged all the time with multi-factor, then you'll start pushing, this again, damn security. And in these situations, when you're not really sure what is going on, you can inject this for any Active Directory based application. So when you're logging in at 8 AM in the morning into your systems from your secured, Crowdstrike secured client, then everything is good. If you do that at 3 AM in the morning from China, maybe not so good. Yeah? But what if your administrators, for example, are doing troubleshooting at 2 AM in the morning because something went wrong? And the weirdest and the worst thing what you can do with these guys, when you're not sure, block their accounts. Because then you have false positives, and this false positive is very, very bad in troubleshooting situation. That's why we can inject multi-factor authentication on demand, either when it's abnormal or on policy. So for example, if you're logging in from your laptop with the latest patches installed, with all the tools up to date, you can log in. But if you're not up to date with your patches, we challenge you with a multi-factor authentication, just to be sure. And when we see it, we can defend against it, and then we can see, okay, we've got SMB signing disabled for these and these applications. Who has still NTLM in the version number 1 in operation? I hope nobody. There are some guys, yeah. And when you see that some servers need NTLM version 1 as authentication method, you can restrict access to NTLM version 1 to exactly these kind of connections. So if an attacker comes in and wants to exploit that, he cannot exploit it everywhere. And when he wants to exploit it at 3 AM in the morning, guess what? We can stop him. We can also inject multi-factor authentication for service accounts, which is quite cool. So automated tools, you get a challenge, a notification, hey, this tool wants to do, I don't know, Salesforce backup or whatever. Okay, may do it. Otherwise, when your service account gets hijacked, who knows what the bad guys are doing with that. And from our POVs, what we do EMEA-wide, I've got some results for you. So this is numbers from thousands of customers and millions of accounts. We see that nearly a quarter have inactive accounts still in their Active Directory. So guess what? This quarter of accounts, do they get the password update? Not so much. So when I'm back in my attacker role again, I would go for these accounts. And these accounts, they are sometimes sold in the darknet, but which we can also monitor. Because when the bad guy is talking about your company in the darknet, probably not so good. Then what we see also compromised and non-compromised accounts, or passwords, let's put it that way. So we see if any password is on a potentially directory list. So if an attacker wants to do a directory-based attack, we can prevent that by keeping the passwords out of this directory. And also very interesting is stealthy accounts. So these are not administrator accounts per se, so per definition, but they have some privileges which might be misused by the attackers. Another one with high risks. Okay, we categorize these users in high risk scores. We can also protect executives, for example, because a CFO is per se not an administrative privileged account, but if you capture this guy's account, you can do lots of damage. Yeah, and we have also organizations, they're close to 3% that have privileged accounts with compromised passwords. So for example, from your administrators or service accounts with compromised passwords. A service account with a static password configured in a backup script, these passwords never change. And with this you can uncover this and fix it before it gets actually exploited. And we are right on time. Want to get back to our original statement. We stop breaches, and we are not actually an antivirus company or an Intel company or an identity-based company. We use this for stop the breach. Questions? I will be here tomorrow as well. Thank you.